Hello guys and girls, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another episode of Patsy Rates Cars. If you're new to my channel or you're not familiar with this feature, basically I get my wife Patsy to rate cars from a passenger's perspective because she can't drive due to an eye condition. So Patsy, come on in, say hello to everyone.
Hello everyone.
There we are. This week we are joined by the brand new Ford Focus. So I just need to do my quick disclaimer. We may share the same surname, but we do not necessarily share the same thoughts. So Patsy's thoughts on this car may not necessarily reflect mine or indeed Car Obsession. So Ford, if you're watching, if she says something nasty, don't blame me, blame her. Anyway, let's get cracking.
It's just rude, that is.
So, as always, let's start off with the exterior styling.
Just de-leafing him.
Ah, him, okay.
Yeah.
Have you given him a name?
Yeah.
What?
Frosty.
Frosty. Oh, because it's... Basically, this colour is...
Olaf, because he's frozen white.
This colour is called frozen white. Anyway, let's get cracking.
Well, you'll be pleased to know...
Yeah?
I will not be slating this car.
Okay, that's a good start.
From the outside, to me, Ford always make a very attractive and appealing car.
Okay.
With some exceptions, obviously. But if we're talking about hatchbacks, there's always something appealing about it. The new Focus, in my opinion, is the best Focus they've made looks-wise.
Interesting. So I still think the first generation is the best looking, but you know, this is certainly not a minger.
Obviously, this is an ST line,
yes,
which will be mentioned at some point. If we are just throwing it out there talking about the ST,
yeah,
Mark II is the best looking in my opinion.
Okay. So,
Ford don't make an ugly Focus. I just think this is the best one.
Yeah.
Reason why, now obviously being the ST line, it looks a bit more sporty, it looks like a bit more edgy. I do like the front end more than the back.
Okay.
I love the black grille. I think it contrasts with the white really well. I would not have the white as a colour. I think if you're going to have a Ford that's a hot hatch or an ST line or so on, it needs to be in a blue or a red, like a more vibrant colour to match its character.
Okay.
Coming around to the side, now they're not the most attractive alloys, I must admit.
So I quite like them.
But the colour, so they're like a gunmetal kind of grey. I don't know the official name, if it's the official colour.
Gunmetal, anthracite.
So I think, I know it sounds really silly because people are going to say, well, gunmetal grey is gunmetal grey. The gunmetal grey colour Ford use I really like because it's still got a glisten to it, whereas some gunmetal greys are like a matte colour.
Right,
so I quite like that. Coming around to the back, not literally, but for the
there's a tree here, so I need to be careful not to bang my head on a branch.
One thing, I don't know if you see me, sorry.
Yeah, I can see you.
One thing I love about the new Focus, and again it's really small, but I like it, the way they've now made the word, so the Focus, in bigger writing, rather than just plonking it in small writing, say on the right hand side or so on.
It looks more premium, doesn't it?
It gives you that more premium kind of, it just gives that added touch.
Yeah.
Makes it pop more. Everyone loves a spoiler. I mean, well, if you don't, you've got problems. Let's face it. But I do like the spoiler. I do think it gives it that added sporty touch, and it helps to identify it's an ST line. Yeah. Now, it's going to sound really odd. I would like the exhaust. I know it's only an ST line, but I would have maybe liked the exhaust to be a little bit more prominent. Yeah. Just like, so if I come down here...
I know exactly what you mean. It has got a double exhaust, which is nice, but let's say if I were to stand here...
even kneeling here, I can't see it.
You can't see it.
I would like it to be a little bit more prominent. I love that it's double exhaust.
Actually, if I go at this angle, it's actually tucked underneath the
it's
mock
too
rear.
Far in, isn't
it? Exactly. Yeah. Right. Inside. Let's get your thoughts on the inside. So if you jump in passenger side.
So before I jump in.
Yep.
When I first opened the door.
Yeah.
The first thing that catches my eye, which I like, that Ford do with their like ST line models or sportier models, is I like that it's still very premium in here.
Okay.
So I like the seats, so the red stitching.
Yeah.
I like that, and I like how they've carried it on around the leather, around the gear stick,
yeah,
and also on the steering wheel. To me, that additional colour really adds to the inside of the car. Jumping in, to me in here, it feels more premium than an ST line, and what I mean by that is up on the like dashboard. It's everyone's favourite thing that I moan about, but there is a nice compromise between the soft touch, because even it goes around here, and obviously the dashboard. I do like this. Now, I say I like this because in some videos other cars have had this and I've said I don't like it. Just to clarify, the reason behind that is this doesn't look too fake, if that makes sense.
I would argue it does, but you know, yeah, I quite like it as well.
I think it's because it's surrounded by more premium materials, it doesn't attract the most attention to it.
Okay.
And I just like how it's not as cluttered. It's minimal, but everything is in the right place to make it look welcoming.
Yeah.
But apart from that, first impressions of the inside, I really like it. But I'll speak more about like comfort and space and so on when we're on the move.
Yep. Okay. So with that in mind, I think it's time to get driving.
Yep, because you look very uncomfortable like that.
Yeah, I'm sort of crouched over. I'm sort of hunched over.
Jump on him. Oh, listen to that diesel grumble.
Yeah, I must admit, if I were to buy an ST line, a diesel engine wouldn't be my first choice. But for some reason, Ford, as it stands, they've only got diesel ST lines on their fleet, which to me makes no sense. But no, I think it's probably because Ford is quite keen to push its new EcoBlue engine.
That explains that one.
So, speaking of engines, let me quickly talk you through them.
Please do.
And there's quite a few engine choices actually. It's quite ample for the new Focus. So you can either have a 1 litre EcoBoost petrol engine,
okay,
a 1.5 litre EcoBoost petrol engine, a 1.5 litre EcoBlue diesel, or a 2 litre EcoBlue diesel. So there's plenty of choice. Every engine is turbocharged. The engine I have is the 1.5 litre EcoBlue diesel, which has 120 horsepower with 300 newton meters of torque, mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox, front wheel drive of course. 62 miles per hour is done in 10 seconds, and the top speed is 122 miles per hour. So on paper, it doesn't really sound overly exciting or fast, but it does make decent progress.
It doesn't sound very appealing on paper.
It doesn't, but obviously you can't drive this car. However,
Can't drive any car.
but, true, but I'm sure you'll agree this car does make decent progress.
It's nippy. It's nippy. I wouldn't say it's fast or exciting, but it picks up pace well.
It does, yeah. So if you do want a more powerful engine, you can get the 1.5 litre EcoBoost petrol, which has 182 horsepower. It's essentially a detuned version of the engine used in the new Fiesta ST.
And that is the one I think I would personally pick if I was to purchase this car.
Yeah, I think that engine hit 62 miles per hour in just over 8 seconds. So not a massive difference, but it is
sounds
faster.
More tempting and more pleasing.
Well, it does, yeah.
Yeah. And you don't get the whole dreary, grumbly diesel sound. I must admit, it's not that bad when the car gets moving, as in the engine sound, in my opinion, for a diesel.
But no, we're doing 50 now, and you can't really hear it. It is a pretty refined diesel.
It is, not taking anything away from it, but it lower, like when you start the car up or lower rev range, or if you're poodling along, that's when it's more audible. But if I had got in this car and you hadn't told me it was a diesel and we we got up to speed, then I wouldn't think it was a diesel. Obviously I know it would be from when it starts up and you get the diesel grumble, should we say. But when you're going, this car doesn't sound at all like a diesel in my opinion.
No. But it's not a bad engine, but it's not the engine I would personally have.
No.
Now the new Focus, it's got lots of new stuff on it, so much so that not really time to mention it in this video. But one thing I will mention is that it's got driving mode. So I've got normal, sport or eco. Right now I've got it in normal, and it offers normal kind of driving conditions. Obviously in sport the car becomes more responsive, the steering becomes heavier, and eco, well that's if you want to cut down on your
environment.
Well yeah, and obviously to get better fuel economy. Speaking of which, this car can offer up to 78.5 miles to the gallon on a combined run, which is very good indeed.
It is.
I must admit I haven't really got that close to hitting that. I'd say the closest I've got is probably low 60s, which isn't bad, but it's not quite as close as to the official figures as you would like.
A little bit more far off the official figures than you'd want.
Yes. And in regards to CO2 emissions, they are 97 grams per kilometre. Now, another new thing about the new Focus, like I said, there's lots of things new. The lower trim levels don't have independent rear suspension anymore. Therefore, it has a torsion beam. This car in particular has got a torsion beam. Now, in case you're not overly mechanically minded, I must admit, I'm not that great with mechanics. Basically, a torsion beam means that the wheels don't work independently to each other, but the beam has got a little bit of flex in it, so it kind of gives you the impression that the wheels are sort of independent, whereas with a proper independent rear suspension setup, it's more comfortable and it gives better adjustability, but it is more expensive to engineer and to build. Now, because this car is an ST line, it also has sport suspension, and I don't know about you, I was expecting this car to be quite jiggly.
I was expecting it to be like more jiggly. You do move about a bit. You do kind of.
Depends on road surface, I would say.
It does. I did expect it to be firmer than what it is.
Yeah.
It is firm. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not as firm as what I thought it would be. When you told me it had sport suspension, I did question that because it's not as firm as what you'd expect.
No.
It's a weird one because it's not uncomfortable, but it's kind of in the middle. It's not comfortable. I wouldn't want to sit in this car for long journeys.
Really?
No.
See, I think this car, considering it's got sport suspension and a torsion beam, I think it rides really well. Obviously, at slower speeds or broken roads or roads with quite heavy undulations, yes, it is jiggly. The ride is busy, and you will notice it more. But down here, this road is pretty smooth. We're doing 40. I think it rides really impressively, and I actually think it feels like a more expensive car. Let's talk about refinement. This car is on 17-inch alloys, so a bit bigger than the base model, which gets 16-inch alloys, and there is a bit of road noise.
It is quite audible.
It's not too bad at 30, but yeah, when we were doing 40 a few moments ago, I could hear it a bit more. Wind noise is pretty good, absolutely fine.
Very minimal.
What I will say is that, how much space do you want? Blimey. What I will say is that on the motorway, when you're doing 60 or 70, you do get a bit of wind noise from the wing mirrors, but
yeah, they're quite. Is chunky the right word? They're quite prominent.
Now, this car is of course a sportier car, so it's about time I put it into sport mode and see whether it's any fun to drive.
That makes the diesel louder.
Well, it's because I'm hanging on to the revs right into third. So this car, as you would expect from a Focus, does handle pretty well. good amount of front end grip, the brakes are good, the steering is direct and responsive. Even though it's got a reasonably lower powered diesel engine, you can still have some proper fun with this car. How do you find it?
It's very planted, but there's still a little bit of like body roll. There's still a movement.
Yep, I would agree. There is a bit of body lean. This car, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but well, I did mention this on sport suspension, but the ride height is 10mm lower. So
Okay.
there is a bit of body roll, but I wouldn't say it's anything to be concerned about.
No, it's not. You notice it, but it's nothing. It's nothing that would really concern you or annoy you as such.
No.
But it is noticeable.
Yeah, but obviously when the ST comes out, that will have less body roll.
Exactly.
Right, so we are pretty much back where we started. So I think it's about time you give us your rating for the new Ford Focus. Indeed.
It definitely justifies a 4.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Obviously, if I was to have this car, I wouldn't go for a diesel. I'd go for a petrol.
Yep, agreed.
Not that the colour kind of comes into the scoring in any way, but I wouldn't go for the white.
No.
And I would prefer more comfortable seats. So the only things I wouldn't give it a 5 for is the comfort and the comfort side of it, and it's just a bit too firm. And apart from that, it comes with a good amount of equipment. I think it's personally great value for money.
It is, yeah.
It's out of its competitors. My personal opinion, this is the better looking car. You can tell it's an ST line, so you get that sportiness to it, but it's not too much. I think it definitely is a very high scoring 4.
Right, so what do you love most about this car?
The premium feel, the value for money, and the outside styling.
Marvellous. And what do you not hate about the car, but what don't you like so much about the car?
So I don't really so much. Rewind.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% keen on the comfort, as I've already mentioned.
Yeah.
I would prefer a little bit more padding on the seats and a teeny bit less body roll. Apart from that, but they're things I could live with. But if you were asking me what I would change,
Yeah.
those are the things I would tweak.
Okay.
If someone gave me this car, I could live with it and I wouldn't moan.
Yeah. Marvellous. Well, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a massive thumbs up. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click that bell icon so you get notified every time I, or indeed Patsy and I, make a video. And if you aren't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe for more Car Obsession.
High five.
Yeah.